Good evening, I'm Andy.
And I'm Evan.
And together, we're the Deplorable General. Every week we bring you tactical tips and tricks, guns and gear review, and political commentary. I myself am a military veteran.
I'm the Chief Firearms Instructor for Tactical, also Executive Protection trained and certified out of 6 Hour Academy.
So we both have a good amount of experience with all things tactical. We both consider ourselves tacticians, if you will. And we like to bring that experience to you in the form of this show. We are out of the York, Pennsylvania area. We try to get this up on YouTube. So today's video will go up on YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel. If you just search for the Deplorable General, you'll be able to find us. Otherwise, the link is on the marquee that's going across the bottom of the page here. And it's just youtube.com/Don't Tread on My Liberty. Like I said, you should see that on the bottom here. Check that out. We could desperately use your support on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, please. Watch the videos. Thumbs up the videos or thumbs down. We don't care. And let us know what you think. Comment on those videos for us. We have people that say, Andy, you talk too damn much. Okay, I'm sorry. That's just what I bring to the table. We both do. Yeah, that's what we bring to the table, okay? So if you don't like it, that's fine. That's okay. If you're looking for something clear and concise and to the point, this is probably not the place for you to be. But we'd love to have you anyway. So we like to dive into stuff, expand on it, think about it, talk about it, try to figure out the little intricate details, and that's really what we're all about. That's what we bring to the table. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, go ahead and give us a like and a subscription on YouTube, and we would greatly appreciate it. Check out our Facebook page, Tactical. That is the name of our company. That's where we do security consulting, firearms training, is through Tactical. And our Facebook page is just a cesspool of craziness. And again, all things tactical. So we get crazy debates and comments and all kinds of insane stuff.
Since this coronavirus is going around, we've had a lot of fun on
the Facebook page is just there. We got thousands of people on there. There's conversations going on every day, and it's a lot of fun. So if you're looking for that kind of debauchery, head on over to Tactical Facebook page and join in if you dare. So then, lastly, if you want to get in touch with us, there are two ways to do it. Evan's personal cell phone number is 717. No, just kidding. Two ways you can get a hold of us. Go on Tactical Facebook page and message us there, and we will get that and answer you pretty quickly. The second way is to email us. It's tactfultactical@usa.com because, well, America. So email us there, tactfultactical@usa.com. And we love to hear suggestions, questions, comments, criticisms. Cuss us out for all we care. We love to hear from you, okay? So that wraps up. We always like to give shout-outs to our local gun shops here in our area. Shrewsbury Gun Bunker.
Yep. Gun Bunker, W.E. Sales.
Yep. In Hanover.
Jefferson and Jefferson Firearms in Jefferson.
Yep.
Also want to give a big shout out to Carbon Steel and for Eagle One for bringing us a couple of guns out of his personal collection. And these are very special guns.
Yeah.
And I even got the original box to two of them. So they're,
That's what we're going to dive into tonight. For those of you who don't know, Eagle One is the call sign that we have dubbed one of our friends and viewers.
And have been on the show.
Yeah, he's been on the show, has an extensive collection of firearms and memorabilia, World War II memorabilia, and just a vast knowledge of a lot of that stuff. And we always love having him on. So he is basically the sponsor, if you will, of tonight's episode, and we're going to talk about Smith Wesson revolvers and just kind of revolvers and wheel guns in general.
The 38 caliber to be exact.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you might have something else to show off.
Yeah. Yeah, I got I got my oh good Lord, Simply Rugged holster.
Manhole cover.
Manhole cover, buddy. Yeah, I'm wearing my Smith Wesson 686 7-inch barrel 7-shot revolver tonight.
For a normal revolver, you would call that a pancake holster. For this gun, it is a manhole cover holster. Okay, so this thing is massive. You could use it as a shield.
I'll stand up real quick.
Yeah, that thing. I said that before the show started that I think that is designed to go on like a separate belt, you know, outside of like your actual waistline, I guess. I don't know, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. Simply Rugged, really good holster company.
And the thing about it is, it's comfortable.
Yeah,
It's not like it's not that comfortable, but it's not.
well, it can only be so comfortable with something that size.
It is, but it really.
That is,
Robert.
That is.
There you go. Hearing it from the peanut gallery.
Yeah, I get that. I get that quite often.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So, anyway, Simply Rugged, though, check them out, folks. Really good company for leather holsters, custom leather holsters. A little bit on the pricier side, but you get what you pay for a lot of times. And with these holsters, honestly, the quality for their holsters, I haven't seen a whole lot out there.
No, there isn't. And I also want to give another shout out to STI. I just got my Edge last week from Carbon Steel, so that's home in the safe.
So we'll do a little review on that here in the
After
coming weeks.
yeah, it's gonna be a little bit longer than that because I got to get some gear together
And put some rounds.
I got to put some rounds through it.
So anyway, wheel guns. So Evan, talk to us about your theory on the birth of wheel guns.
Okay, this is the birth of the 38 Special.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, and goes back to 1898 when we were in the Philippines, where we got the 45 auto rim from.
Mm-hmm.
And they converted a bunch of double action 45 Colts to the auto rim because of the 1905 Browning Colt 45 that was pushed into service because of the Philippines. And that kind of brings us to this gun here. This is the original Smith Wesson Model 10 M&P. Now it's got the pencil barrel on it, this, that, and the other. This is the original Model 10. Okay, it's got a very thin barrel. Well, the 38 Special came around at the time of the Philippine War or the Philippine insurrection. The guns that they were carrying were like this, but they were Colts.
Mm-hmm.
And they were chambered in 38 Colt, which just did not have any kind of up-close personal stopping power when these guys would be hopped up on opium and coming at you. So they came up with this gun here.
Yeah.
And this design, this is about a 50s design here. And then comes this. After World War II, you know, these things are floating around. Guys are not really interested in fighting guns. These are more like gallery guns.
Yeah.
These are guns that you would rent at a shooting gallery. Brings us to the Model 14. Now, what the 14 brought to the table in the late 40s, early 50s was it has a thicker barrel. Okay, this is called a bull barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the 60s, you know, late 50s, early 60s, Smith Wesson took the M&P here, which you could still get at the time. They did not discontinue this.
Yeah.
They still kept this design. You just put a bull barrel on it. That's where they got the idea of the original Model 10.
I gotcha.
Okay, not the M&P anymore.
Yeah.
This was the M&P, then military and police.
Yeah.
Then this came along, and they put that barrel on there for balance purposes. Then, throughout both wars, World War I, World War II, you had Colts, and you always had, but the 38 Special was the one that really went as an underdog of stopping power.
Yeah. And if you look at these, two guns here.
It's the same frame.
Yeah, it's practically the same frame, same trigger, basically the same hammer, same cylinder. I mean, and you put them side by side, and you put them on each other there, and it's the same gun. I mean, virtually.
It's just a different grip, different trigger.
14 has a bigger grip and a bigger barrel, obviously. But
6-inch.
Yeah, and being the bull barrel as opposed to the pencil.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, the reason I brought up the Philippines and not World War I was the 38s. These were issued in World War I, guns just like this, and in World War II, to people that were in the rear with the gear.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, these were not up front.
Yeah, front line combat arms.
Pilots carried them. Some tankers carried revolvers, but they were chambered in a big 45 though.
Yeah.
Or 38 or 38-40. But the
and so here, we'll see if we can zoom in on this.
I will put it right there. You ain't gonna see it. It's a
Go that angle.
here. Try to hold that. I got sausage fingers.
Yeah. So that right there is a 38 special round to give you an idea. And compared, sorry, I'm moving my hands around here, but compared to a 9mm,
it's the same, almost same bullet.
let's hold them still. There we go. There we go. Right there.
Yeah, right there.
There you go. So you can see the bullet itself, the casing is bigger, but the projectile is relatively the same size, and ballistically, they're similar.
They're similar. The 9mm has a little bit more energy than the revolver, and we'll get into that real quick.
Yeah.
And that's because of the cylinder gap. All revolvers have a cylinder gap. Now, you're not going to see that on camera. But right where the cylinder meets the barrel. Let's see if I'll unload this. Unload my 357. My 357's got a very, you can really see the cylinder gap pretty well. Okay.
Now, the only revolver that I know of that closes that gap is the Nagant revolver.
Yeah, that is true.
It's one of the only revolvers that I know of that you can
It is
apply a
the only-
suppressor to.
It is the only revolver.
Yeah.
And I have fired a Nagant revolver.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of fun. It is
Yeah,
a very
it's a good-
interesting revolver.
And so basically, with that, as you pull the trigger, the cylinder is actually pushed forward and actually then creates a seal with the barrel, much like a chamber would in a semi-auto.
And the thing about it is, it shoots a 30 caliber
Yeah.
cartridge. That's actually inside the cartridge case, but they were trying what am I trying to say is the philosophy behind that was give it a faster bullet.
Right. Yeah.
Because of the cylinder gap does slow down the cartridge.
Yeah, which is why, when that's basically what Evan's saying here is that that's why ballistically the 9mm packs a little bit more punch than the 38, even though bullet size is relatively close, and the but that's also why the casing on the 38 is significantly longer than on the 9mm. So back in I guess it was like where they started switching over to like the 92 and semi-auto.
That was in 80. It was actually after 86.
Yeah.
That's when they started going to Smith Wesson 9mm, and they were looking at different cartridges, because even with the FBI load, the 38 FBI load, which is 158 grain lead wad cutter, semi wad cutter hollow point. And it has the ballistics of almost a little over 1,000 feet per second. But if you put that round in this little snub nose here, okay, with a 2-inch barrel, it will handle it. No questions asked. It will handle a plus P load, an FBI load.
Yeah.
But your ballistics are below 1,000 feet per second.
Yeah.
So you're not getting the advertised performance out of the load when you would have, let's say, just a little longer barrel.
Mm-hmm.
You'd get close to it.
Yeah.
Okay, with a little long, like with this.
Yeah.
So 6 shots of this wouldn't be as effective as 6 shots or
Right.
5 shots out of this.
Yeah.
Okay, now with that being said, does that make a difference? Nominal. Guys, shots, hits count, misses don't. Like I said, a lady in Tennessee, and I brought this up several times, a lady in Tennessee probably had something close to this or this under her seat in a minivan where her husband was being pistol whipped. Okay, she grabs a 38, probably no more kind of ammunition than what Andy's got there, just lead round nose.
Yeah.
Fired 6 shots, 5 shots hit the guy. The guy ran down the street toward the hospital, died in a ditch.
Yeah.
Okay, hits count, misses don't. Did she stop the attack? Yes.
Yep.
Does it matter what she shot him with? No.
No, and this is a good, the 38 is a good cartridge for people interested in wheel guns for personal protection and self-defense. Now, Evan likes to carry wheel guns for personal protection and self-defense. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite for several different reasons. So, mag capacity is one.
Definitely.
Now, there's some people though that can take a speed loader and reload a revolver just as quick as I can do a mag change. That's great, you know. But this is a personal preference. I'm not one to sit here and say, oh no, you should never carry this or you should always carry that. At the end of the day, folks, this is a personal preference. A lot of people feel comfortable with revolvers because they don't have a like a manual safety because they don't need one, because they are hammer fired. A lot of people like them because they usually have a little bit heavier trigger, so you can't pull the trigger by accident. A lot of people like them because of their size and the weight of them.
Guys, in my standard basic pistol class, this is the gun that we shoot 36 to 42 rounds out of.
Yeah.
Okay? Before you pick up any other gun, this is the first gun you shoot. Period. Okay? In my class, when I teach my basic firearms class. Why? Because it doesn't recoil. Okay? If you want to, and then what I do is I come over here and then you shoot this for my second one. Okay? Now the reason I carry this, okay, is I maximized the velocity. I maximized my energy. It's a 7-inch barrel.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is this for everybody to carry? No. Do I carry this every day? No. You've seen what I carry. Last week I carried my 380.
Yeah.
You know, it just depends on what I'm doing.
And also, I also want to make the point, though, that I make almost every time we talk about specific firearms, is it doesn't matter what you carry as much as the skill that you have with it. There are people that can handle revolvers better than I can handle
A semi-auto.
Yeah, so
and then you got guys that can just shoot everything.
right. So but the key is to learn your weapon system, learn it as best you can, and ultimately the best thing you can do is get training, and that is why we offer the classes that we do at Tactful Tactical. In our basic pistol class, we allow you to shoot up to a dozen different handguns, not including your own. So if you bring your own gun that you want to shoot, that you want to learn how to shoot, that's great. We teach you how to shoot that, but we have up to 12 different guns that we can introduce to that class to give you experience over a whole bunch of different guns, from revolvers to hammer-fired semi-autos to striker-fired guns.
It just depends on what you want to do.
Yeah,
And
380s,
then,
9mm, 357.
Like I said, I trained a lady a couple of weeks ago. She took not my full class. She just needed training.
Yeah.
So she reached out to me through, secondhand source. We weren't doing anything. We could actually shoot in her backyard.
Mm-hmm.
So I cut her a discount and I went with her. And this was I brought this and I brought just a couple of other guns. I didn't bring a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
And she shot this fine. She shot this, and then she shot the other gun. And then we moved on to her couple of guns that she had. And that was the class. That was it.
Yeah.
And she got it tagged where you wouldn't even think that would even be a thing.
Yeah.
And she wasn't a gun person. But we know the two things criminals look for: location and opportunity.
Yeah.
That's it. Do I have an opportunity there? Yes. Was she paying attention? No. No situational awareness whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's what they preyed upon.
Which, if you're interested in it, go onto YouTube and type in the Deplorable General situational awareness.
We did 3 videos on it?
Yeah, 2 or 3 episodes where
yeah.
we talked about basic situational awareness, and we also talked about situational awareness in particular for women. So if those are something you're interested in, check those videos out. We went into detail with it. we might do another episode in the future covering some of that based off of some stuff that's happened in the past, especially with this COVID stuff. There's been a lot of good opportunities for us to bring some good content to you. Now, Smith and Wesson, it was founded in 1856, and they by Horace Smith and Daniel Weson. They later renamed the company Volcanic Repeating Arms, and then that was sold to Winchester.
Yeah.
And that became Winchester Repeating Arms. So, these are names that most people have heard of and are familiar with, whether or not you're gun people or not. So, when it comes down to it, Colt, Smith & Wesson, Winchester, these are pretty much the trifecta of
Springfield.
Yeah, Springfield, right? So I mean, these are kind of the companies. Man, you messed up my trifecta.
Sorry.
But these are the companies that kind of carried the gun industry from the late 1800s through the early 1900s. So a lot of these designs are tried and true. I mean, these designs have been around since the late 1800s.
Yeah, I mean, the first double action revolver was the Colt Lightning.
Yeah.
And then from the Colt Lightning, Smith & Wesson jumped on board with it with the Model 4, Model 5. And then, but like I said, in the Philippines, they had a gun like this that they pressed out of that, made a 38 special, and just started issuing that, and it was effective.
Yeah.
It wasn't as popular as the 45.
Mm-hmm.
The 45 really came out of the Philippines.
Yeah.
The 38 special kind of went the way of the way, but there were more 38 specials there than there were 45 AC.
Yeah.
And they had to be retuned by Browning.
Right.
The Browning had to tweak them. And we also got the 50 cal out of that too, out of the Philippines.
I didn't know that.
Yep. General Pershing went to John Moses Browning. And he said, I need a 671 grain bullet doing between this ballistics and this ballistics. And John Moses Browning told him the same way he did Colonel Thompson, was you bring me the bullet, I'll build you the gun. And that was that was John Moses Browning. But the 38s were the red-headed bastards, stepchildren of the military throughout the World War I, World War II, and Korea.
Yeah.
Out of this design here, in the jet age in Vietnam, they made aluminum frame Model 10s. It's basically what it was the Model 14 with aluminum frame. Okay, because of weight. They put a 4-inch barrel on it, 2, 3, and 4-inch barrels. Put aluminum frame on it, and called it a Model 15. So, and a lot of some of the pilots in the Navy could carry those.
Yeah. Now that's a good point. Handguns have never been the primary focus of any primary combat force, any combat arms. As a matter of fact, most military, even to this day, have very little training on handguns, and most troops don't carry handguns. The idea is that you would never have to get to that point. So what Evan's saying about a lot of these troops, these things weren't given to people on the front lines. These were given to people who had a high risk of being captured, who were almost guaranteed to be up close and personal if the fight did actually come to them. And again, same holds true for today. There's not a lot of focus put on. Personally, I think that a lot more focus should be put on it, because I think that at the end of the day, it's obviously a very viable weapon system, the handgun in general. I mean, and I think has its purpose even in combat. I guess there are people with more stars on their shoulder than I do that know better than I do about those things.
Well, General George S. Patton, his gun that he wore on his left hip was a Smith Wesson Model 27 in a 3.5-inch barrel.
Yeah.
So it had this barrel length on it, but it was a 357 Magnum,
Nice.
and he had ivory grips on it. He referred to that gun as his killing gun. And at that time, it was not the 357 Magnum. It was the registered Magnum, Smith Wesson registered Magnum. It didn't get, the 357 didn't come out until like the late 40s, early 50s,
Yeah.
after the war.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of combat units would carry, somebody would have a revolver and they'd call it a mercy pistol. So this is like you're in combat and you know, your enemy is crawling across the ground with his guts hanging out. This finishes him off. That was a common theme all the way up through Vietnam.
Well, there's a funny story, and a Vietnam sniper actually pulled a revolver like this, and he had his 1911, and he actually charged a Viet Cong platoon with both handguns. Now, was it effective? No, he killed like 2 or 3 Viet Cong, but
The sheer size of his testicles alone made them turn around and run.
But the thing about it is, it was what we call violence of action.
Yeah.
Okay? And that goes a long way. There's a video of a robber that had a revolver. Okay? I don't know who made his revolver, but he shot the owner, the manager, store clerk, or something. It's on tactical, in the leg, both legs, and the guy had a semi-auto, and he was still able, but he had a malfunction, but he was able to clear the malfunction, get right back in the fight, and pop some more rounds in this guy. And the thing about it is, regardless, I'm not talking about that, but what I'm saying is the fact that he was wounded and still stayed in the fight.
Yeah.
You know, that's violence of action.
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking, and I'll tell you this, when you take my class, yes, we're having fun. It is fun. I've never seen somebody say, I don't want to do this again.
Yeah.
It's just that at the end of the day, we are teaching you how to defend yourself against evil. Bottom line. You may not be able to get on your cell phone and call 911. You may not have that ability. This will stop. If this is all you got, that's better than nothing.
Yeah.
You know, this has been on The Walking Dead, this gun right here. Gun like this is Carol's gun.
So, just to wrap up, the last thing with revolvers, we touched on it a little bit, barrel length. You have a variety of different options, anywhere from your snub nose. You have 3.5 inch. What's that? 4. Yep.
6.
A 6 inch.
And then you get this, 7 inch.
Yeah, and the sky's the limit. I mean, they make 16 inch barrel
Rifles.
Yeah, revolvers.
You can get a lever action Marlin again.
But like what Evan was saying, especially in a revolver, the longer the barrel, the better the ballistics, the better the accuracy is going to be. So that's a consideration. Now, if you're carrying a revolver for self-defense, you're probably going to want to go with something like this, a snub nose, something that you could fit this in your pocket. They make revolvers that have hammers that aren't exposed, like this hammer, so that way it can't get stuck on your pocket as you're pulling it out and things like that. It's
Guys, if you want a modern day polymer frame revolver, the Ruger 327 Magnum is the way is the round that I really push in my classes. Now the reason that is because in a 5-shot snub nose revolver like this, okay, that you get from Ruger, which is hammerless,
right.
It's very lightweight. The 327 is not a heavy cartridge. Now, the 327 holds 6 shots instead of 5. Now, you can still get this gun, it's called a Cobra, from Colt. Colt came back out with this. And they're not cheap.
No.
They're not cheap. But the thing about it is, you can get the 327. Now, the 327 has the energy of the 9mm. But you're getting a smaller bullet.
Right.
However, the beautiful thing about it is you're getting a boomer. Don't let that fool you. You're getting something that sounds like a cannon.
Yeah.
That 327 Magnum out of that
the sound wave alone would kill the person.
Exactly. I mean, it is a huge blast.
Yeah.
And that will scare anybody.
Yeah, no doubt.
So you have a little bit of a psyops when you're talking about.
Yeah, that kind of plays into the violence of action.
Yeah.
Just that shockwave is.
I mean, this thing is up out of all these guns. This would be the loudest one.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the loudest one.
So this is kind of a introduction to some Smith & Wesson revolvers and revolvers in general. We're going to go over in the future. We're going to have a couple of episodes taking some of this, some tactics down with revolvers, some considerations on different types of ammunition and things like that. But hopefully you learn a little bit. If you have any questions, please reach out to us on our Facebook page, Tactical. Sorry, rewind. Please send us a message on our Facebook page, Tactical, or you can email us at tactfultactical@usa.com. Again, like to give a shout out and big thank you to Eagle One.
Yes.
These guns are always a pleasure to dive into and to have the original boxes, and it's a pleasure to be able to actually grasp a piece of history like this.
Exactly.
So, like I said, let us know if you want anything, if you have any questions. We're gonna have some new merch hitting the merch store here shortly, so we'll give you a link to that.
And I also want to say this: here in a couple of weeks, we will be having my rifle back. Rifle back.
Well, I'm excited. I hope they pull through on us.
I talked to Springfield VP of customer service today.
Nice.
I called them this morning. They actually got back with me, and they said it should be shipping next Wednesday.
Nice. So we'll once that comes in, we will display it back up here for you guys, and then hopefully do a whole video on that. I'm Andy.
And I'm Evan.
Deplorable General.
Over and out.